Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Monday, June the 2nd, 2025. And yes, for the people that asked or sent me messages yesterday, yes, I have got a black eye. That's where I face planted the ground on Friday night. I actually thought it might be a bit worse than that. I do tend to bruise very, very easily. And the impact I hit the ground with, I thought, oh, that's not going to be good. So I've actually come out better than I expected. It brings back some memories though, doesn't it, having the black eye? But anyway, all right, on this day, back in, when was it? Well, obviously it was June the 2nd, but 1947, Len Wickwar. Now, you might not have heard of Len Wickwar. I certainly hadn't until I saw this stat. Had his 473rd fight of his career. Yes, 473 fights, more than anyone in boxing history. So his record was 340 wins, 87 losses, 43 draws, and he had 94 knockouts. So the most wins in history as well as the most fights. I'm assuming the most draws in history as well, 43. Fought from, was it what year was it? Hang on, I'll go to his last year. That is just an amazing record. Fought from 1928 until the year, hang on, he's from England, by the way, if I didn't mention that, and fought all the way through to 1947. So nearly a 20-year career, 19 to 20-year career. Just amazing, isn't it? Crazy. But that was his name, Len Wickwar. Look him up. The other thing that happened on this day in, what year was it? Oh, that was the year I just said. Hang on. What was the other one? Oh, okay. It was Carlos Monzon, the great middleweight champion. What's he doing there? Better go get him. Beat Emil Griffith, so another fellow great. That was for the world middleweight title. Took place in Monaco in 1973, that fight. So, the Carlos Monzon with the win over Emil Griffith. Now, what was it? So that was defeated. I thought they fought twice. Yeah. So the first time it was a stoppage win for Monzon. This time it was unanimous decision. But anyway, I wanted to start today actually with you talking about on this day something good that hasn't happened on this day. It is today. And it is the passing of the great body snatcher, Mike McCallum. I'm sure if you're a boxing fan, you've heard of Mike McCallum. Come on, buddy. But really tragic news today. He was found on the side of the road in his car, unresponsive. They're not sure what's happened to him. It's probably likely that he's had a heart attack or something like that, some sort of medical episode. But just a great fighter was Mike McCallum. He won his first world title in Come here, man. All right, let's go this way. In 1984, he beat Sean Mannion for the WBA 154-pound title. It was actually on the undercard of the Marvin Hagler-Mustafa Hamsho fight at Madison Square Garden. I remember watching him on that card thinking, geez, this guy is good. From Jamaica, and went on to just be a legendary fighter. He always was sort of seen as being avoided by the good fighters. And that includes the Hagler, Hearns, Durans, these types of guys. But he finally got his big crack in 1987. So 3 years after he won the world title, he fought. His first one was Milton McCrory, the former WBC welterweight champion. Very highly regarded was Milton McCrory, was moving up. And Mike McCallum got him out of there. And then his next fight, he fought another former welterweight champion, Donald Curry, who was, before he lost that upset to Lloyd Huntington, he'd been stopped on cuts, but he decided to move up. Was still seen as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and Mike McCallum knocked him out with a left hook from hell. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. And if you're an aspiring boxer, look at that as an example. Well, Donald Curry shows you an example of what not to do when you're pulling out of a contest. You don't pull straight out of a contest with your chin up in the air. All right, because Mike McCallum made him pay with a left hook that knocked him out cold and pretty much sent his career down a downward spiral after that. He had some memorable fights. He did lose in an upset to Sambu Kalambe at middleweight, but he avenged that loss later on. But he had 3 great fights with James Toney. Roy Jones Jr., he beat our own Jeff Harding for the world middleweight title. He had three, I remember he had 3 fights in a row against Englishmen, all English greats, Harold Graham, Steve Collins, and Michael Watson. He beat them all in succession. I think 2 of them might have actually been in England as well, which made it even better. But just a lovely guy. We had the pleasure of meeting him at the Mayweather boxing gym on one of the journeys. I can't remember what trip it was, but I just remember looking at him, that's Mike McCallum. He looked a little bit different because he put on a bit of weight, as most fighters do. And just a lovely, lovely, lovely guy. He stood around and talked to us for about half an hour. And, of course, I can't remember who I was with. But I remember just firing questions at him, for about 30 minutes. And he stood there and was so polite and gave us his time, and just a really, really nice guy. I think I got a photo of him at some stage. I don't know what I've done with it, but yeah, 68. I think he might have been about to turn 69. So yeah, just a tragedy. The body snatcher, Mike McCallum. So rest in peace to him. And just seems like we're losing too many at the moment. I'm sure this weekend, actually, in Canastota, New York, at the Hall of Fame, they will do a tribute to Mike McCallum. And as I said, one of the best fighters to ever lace up gloves was Mike McCallum. So, yeah, not good news. All right, on to the news, I suppose, of the last 24 hours. And don't know whether you watched the fights yesterday. I did on Amazon Prime. Not a bad day of fights. Big upset, though. What was his name? Resendez with the win over Caleb Plant. Good win. I don't know what Caleb Plant was complaining about, by the way, at the end of it, but a great win by Resendez. He's going to get some big fights because of that. I watched Kamel Moton. I know he's got big raps from the Mayweather stable. I'm not feeling it, guys. I'm not feeling it. I'm not seeing it. There's just something there. I'm not sure what it is. Being from the Mayweather stable, it's almost like he's trying to fight a little bit like Floyd. He is an exciting young guy, definitely talented, but I've got to say at the moment, call it a gut feeling. I'm just not seeing that future star that they're all talking about, and I don't know what it is. He had a good win. He had a unanimous decision win. Did what he had to do. He's fighting often. They're stepping him up bit by bit, and that's great. But I need to see a lot more before I jump on the Kamel Moton train, I'm afraid. I just see a few things that, well, again, call it a gut feeling, but I'm not on the hype train just yet. So hopefully he can get there. He's a good young kid. We met him in Vegas a few years ago. Well, not a few years ago, probably about 3 years ago. And a really good young kid. Got his head screwed on right, so hopefully he can do it. And I'm sure under Mayweather's promotions he will get an opportunity anyway. Jamal Charlo, I know they're all sort of talking him up as being back and all this sort of stuff. Again, I didn't see it. Look, he had, what was it, a 6th round knockout or stoppage. Knocked Lamana down 3 times. It's just an extremely overmatched guy was Lamana. I couldn't believe that he was in that type of fight. His record didn't look too bad. I hadn't seen really anything of him before he got in there, but really from the first round, you could tell he was nowhere near the level. And Jamal Charlo, look, maybe that's what they wanted. He was made to look good, put it that way. But, yeah, Jamal Charlo, still a long way to go. I mean, look, this is a guy that fights every 18 months to 2 years. So afterwards he did say he was looking to step up and fight more often and all this sort of stuff. And obviously he was going to fight Plant, but we'll see what happens with that now. But he might fight Resendez, I don't know. But to me, he still looks a bit shot to me. He looked a bit slow to pull the trigger, sort of laboured around the ring a little bit. Lamana was just that overmatched that made him look better than what I think he is, Jamal Charlo. I mean, hey, Jamal Charlo is a very, very good fighter, great fight. Well, I'm not going to say a great fighter, a very, very good fighter. Obviously former world champion. But, yeah, I wasn't that impressed by what I saw. And the thing that sort of disturbed me a little bit was the stoppage. Now, I understand he'd been put down 3 times. I don't think he'd really been hurt. He was overmatched, I get that. Maybe that's why they stopped it. But the doctor got in the ring at the start of the 6th round and just said, look, I think he's had enough. And I'm not sure he had. Now, I can understand maybe the referee saying, hey, mate, you're way out of your depth here. Let's just call it a night. But to get the doctor in there to have a look at him, and the doctor's like, no, he's had enough. Well, I don't think he'd had enough as far as, punishment goes. I can understand the referee, as I said, saying, no, you've had enough because you're outclassed. That's a bit different. That's a referee's call. A doctor's not in the position to make a call that he's outclassed, is he? I don't know. Have we gone over the edge a little bit with it all? The doctor is more there to assess the physical damage, cuts and bruises and all that sort of stuff, and maybe maybe he's seeing something, he looks concussed or whatever it might be. That's what the doctor's job is. As I said, I don't think it's the doctor's job to say, mate, you're outclassed. That's the referee's job, and the referee sort of put it on to the doctor. I was shocked. Look, end of the day, he's never going to win the fight. After, 5 rounds, he was probably 8 points down. So he's not going to win, I get it. So what's the call? Do you just say, hey, look, you're not going to win the fight, so let's just call it now? Or you give a professional fighter the opportunity to do his stuff and to get through the fight? Because even though he'd been knocked down 3 times, I don't think any of the knockdowns were like, wow, shit, this guy's in a lot of trouble here. He's getting pummeled. And anyway, each to their own. It's another case of, do you stop it a round too early or a round too late? I don't know. But I just think professional boxing, you should have an opportunity. I mean, you're getting paid good money to be in there. Let's fight. He wasn't happy about it. And I just don't think he was in that much trouble physically, But anyway, it doesn't matter, of course. He was never going to win the fight, so I suppose we move on. But yeah, not that impressed by Charlo. He's got a long way to go. I want to see him fight maybe twice more this year. Then we'll maybe start to take him seriously. At least, I was going to say at least once. I want to see him fight twice. If he's serious about getting his career back on track, he's 35 years of age. Yeah, I think it's time for him to be all in or be all out. His dance partner, of course, for his next fight is no longer, although, as I said, it might be Resendez. A very disappointing performance from Caleb Plant. Now, look, I've never been high on Caleb Plant. I've always thought, I think he's good for boxing. I think he's a bit of a character, and in his own way, he's a bit dry. He's not flamboyant or anything. He's very, very dry. And but we need these types of guys in boxing. Of course, he did have the infamous slap of Charlo, was it last year or the year before, whatever it was. But I've always thought he's a limited fighter, not really a big puncher. He's got a pretty good jab, but not much of a right hand, not much really of anything except a bit of movement in the jab. And he's done very, very well. He's won the world title, a couple of times, or once, twice, whatever it has, but a former world champion. So obviously you've got to give him his respect. But I just think yesterday it was a case of Resendez just pretty much just showing up those flaws. And the big thing with Caleb Plant is he looks good for the first maybe 4 rounds, sometimes 5 rounds. And then he just fades. All the losses he's had, he's just faded, and he hasn't been able to go with his opponent. Now, Resendez fought very, very well yesterday, but what did he have? A 15-2 record. So, good fighter, but I would have thought we would have expected Caleb Plant to beat him. But I think once the heat had gone out of the fight, and credit to Resendez and his team for the plan, and as soon as I saw Manny Robles in the corner, I thought this guy's a live chance to win this, because Manny Robles is a very, very good trainer. And I think the game plan was, and it was effective, was just that first 4 rounds or 5 rounds, just go with Plant and be competitive and be in front of him and make him punch, and Plant did that. And I thought Plant won the majority of the early rounds. I thought he won maybe 3 of the first 4. But I just thought maybe even 4 of the first 5. He fought very, very well. But I just thought after that, Resendez was just beating him in every department, whether it be punching, boxing, whatever. I think he just pretty much won. I would have had at least 7, maybe even 8 rounds to Resendez. I thought, I can't remember what the exact scores were. It was actually a split decision, which is ridiculous. I think it was 115-113 for Plant was one of them. 115-113 for Resendez. Now, I think the other one was 116-112 for Resendez. But that's the card I would have went with, 8 rounds to 4. I just thought Resendez was dominant. I really did. Fought a really, really good fight. As I said, those first 5 rounds just stuck with Plant, made him work. And then after that, just started to put the pressure on. And Plant, like a lot of his fights, just wasn't able to go. And the limitations were just there for all to see. After the jab failed to be effective against Resendez when he was getting in close, Plant didn't really have anything else to offer. The thing is with Plant that I've always sort of found as well, being a limited fighter is not good if you're on the back foot. Sometimes you can get away with it if you're on the front foot and you're in close and you can maul and rough the opponent up and get inside and all that sort of stuff. But when you're on the outside and you've got those limitations, it's very, very hard to compete with someone like a Resendez who is very good in close and just, he was there to fight. I think that's what Plant didn't sort of factor in, is that Plant was there to fight. Resendez was there to fight. He was there to win, not just be the opponent. And I think it took Plant by surprise. Now, Plant did claim he had an injury after the fight, his right hand. I don't buy it. I don't think it would have made any difference anyway, if that was the case, even if he had 100% right hand. I just thought it was just beaten on the day. Simple as that. No ifs, ands or buts. He was beaten by a better fighter on the day. And he was humble enough, I suppose, but like most fighters, they've never lost a fight. There's always circumstances that have gone against them. But overall, look, I think Resendez maybe, look, what happens to him now at super middleweight? Does he go into the Canelo sweepstakes? I probably don't think so at this stage. I think, if anything, they might try and line him up with Charlo, but does Charlo want to fight someone like Resendez up next as well? Does he want someone as tough and hard as what Resendez was against Plant? So, maybe Plant and Charlo will fight anyway. We've seen it happen before. Roy Jones Jr. got knocked out in one round by Danny Green when they had the Bernard Hopkins fight lined up, and they fought anyway. So who knows? Maybe we'll get it. But look, whether we get it or not, I'm not that stressed, by the way. Plant versus Charlo. I mean, geez, I won't be getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning when tickets go on sale to buy them, I can tell you. But anyway. But yeah, he did drop the ball, drop the big payday. He did, Caleb Plant. Look, I still think he's got fight in him. I don't think it was a case of him losing because he was faded or washed or anything like that. I just think he was just beaten by a better fighter on the day. And there'll be some other good fights out there for him. Maybe he needs to go up to light heavyweight or something. Who knows? But because he's a big guy. But yeah, he blew it. All right. Now I've got to apologise too. I was talking on here yesterday about the Pacquiao and Barrios and Zoo Fundora press conference, when it was going to be, and it actually happened that morning before I actually got on here. So I didn't check the social media. I had a couple of people pointing out to me, okay, yep. Normally I do check social media before I go, but for some reason I didn't. And I didn't even realise I'd had the press conference that morning. I was told it was going to be June the 2nd, which was today, by a good source. And yeah, as I said, didn't check social media. So I apologise for that. But geez, how big did Barrios look when they did the face-off with Manny Pacquiao? He looked huge. Not to say it's going to make a lot of difference in the fight, because they've still got to both weigh 147. But yeah, the height difference was really noticeable. A lot of people still giving Pacquiao a good chance. But geez, you've got to wonder, don't you? Just the size difference alone, not to mention the age. And if he can pull this off, Matty, it's going to be massive. I tell you who thinks he can pull it off, and that's Amir Khan. I don't know why they keep rolling out Amir Khan of all people. And he said that Pacquiao's a good chance to win. And this is the kicker. This is why I bring it up. He said that Pacquiao wins, then maybe I'll be next. I'll fight the Pac-Man next. Says Amir Khan of all people. It's like, come on, Amir. I mean, you pretty much quit in 2 of your last sort of 3 or 4 fights, mate. Come on. Okay fighter back in the day, Amir Khan, but let's not get too excited, mate. You're not a superstar. I've just never been. I'm not trying to be too hard on me. I've just never been a fan. I've just thought he lacked a little bit in the heart department, and I think it showed up with fights against Kell Brook and Terence Crawford. I'm just not a fan. I'm sorry, of Amir Khan, and the thought of him getting especially after his last fight with Kell Brook, to put his hand up to fight Manny Pacquiao. Come on, Amir, let's just enjoy retirement, mate. He's actually doing good things in boxing outside. I think he's doing some promotions and some foundations and all that sort of stuff. So that's good. Amir, just stick to that, mate. Just stick to that, because I certainly don't want to see you win with Manny Pacquiao, I can tell you. All right, what else is going on? Teofimo Lopez has walked back his comments about Turkey LL Sheikh. Geez, that's a big surprise, isn't it? Do you think, because there was footage over the weekend of him with Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather. Do you think that he's gotten chummy with Oscar and Floyd in the hope that maybe one of those guys will take him on? And when he maybe got the, not interest, especially from Oscar, who obviously is well involved with Turkey Al Sheikh, he would have said, mate, I can't touch her, else I'll be blacklisted as well. Floyd Mayweather's probably like, no, mate, I don't need you on our books. Do you think then he's been advised to then go back and apologise to Turkey Al Sheikh? It was a pretty grovelling type of apology on X. It was pretty cringeworthy, actually. And I think, and quite rightly so, Shakur Stevenson sort of had a crack at him, because Teofimo launched into him when Shakur apologised to Turkey Al Sheikh, and here we are. We're just going off country or cross country here, guys, or off road, because Neil's, I don't know where he's trying to go. But it was pretty funny. So look, good advice though, I will say. Whoever's advised him to apologise to Turkey Al Sheikh, very, very good move. In this day and age of people not wanting to apologise and getting on the high horse and all that sort of stuff, especially someone like Teofimo, I think it's good that someone said, hey, Teofimo, if you don't apologise to Turkey, I'm not quite sure where your career goes after this. So good move from Teofimo and his team. One last thing, and it must be the month for it, actually, as far as comebacks go, because Nonito Donaire is back. Yes, Nonito Donaire. He is fighting in 2 weeks' time. If you can believe that. He's fighting in Argentina. Now, he's fighting a guy called Andres Campos for the WBA interim 118-pound title, so bantamweight title. So I don't know where this has come from, but it's not like they've given a lot of lead-in time. 2 weeks he's fighting, so June 14th in Argentina. So I don't know, at what is he, 42 years of age, what he's thinking either, because his last fight against, was it Santiago, he looked terrible. So luckily he hasn't taken a lot of punishment apart from Inouye a couple of years ago, but apart from that he hasn't been too bad. So let's hope he gets through this one. But geez, we've had Pacquiao, now we might have Khan, and now we've got Donaire as well. Guys, let's just remember your age, I think. Stay retired. I don't know what Nonito Donaire thinks he's going to achieve here, but I suppose at 42 he's relatively young, isn't he, compared to some of the other guys out there? So each to their own. But yeah, he's back on June 14th. So that's it today, guys. Hope you have a great Monday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.